I put it on, yeah.
Okay, excellent. And then if we need to grab more water, we can. Okay, wonderful. About to get our next session started. Thank you so much for being here. It's a variety show. We've had a number of incredible presentations. And I'm sure you can appreciate not everybody is a public speaker, but they're really bringing their passion, they're bringing their knowledge. And this next presenter will be no exception. Emil, yeah, from the Web of Word.
Yeah, Weird or Word Wellness.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk about fulvic acid, humic acid, minerals, what should be in the soil and therefore in our food that is not. And he's also got something for you to kind of taste and experience as well. So yeah, same flow. We're going to go for about 45 minutes and then take a break. And I'll just leave it to you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. So who has the ability to maybe need more energy or a better memory in their life, or know somebody that does? Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And in my short time, we'll figure out some simple solutions to add some remedy to your life very easily, and even how to potentially see where you're at with your health. So anybody that wants to try some while we're sitting here, we can have a drink together, like at the bar. I have a portion of our dried, it's the humic and fulvic, in a daily recommended dose. So you can grab some water.
So what we'll do is we'll come around. Don, if you want to do that side of the room, I can do this side of the room. We'll bring some water, and then there's these little taps. So you just empty them into the water and watch the magic happen and have a taste.
You can pass that around.
Okay, so maybe we'll pass this around first, take a packet, and then we'll come around with the water.
Yes, perfect.
A major feat of juggling in your hands and laps.
So while we're passing all that around, I'll tell you where my story began. About 50 years ago, on a small idyllic family farm. And so I grew up with grandma in the garden. And my Scandinavian heritage, I guess there was no fertility issues back then, because my mother had my brother about 10 months after myself, born on the first day of spring. So as I was grandma's boy, Bradley went with dad more. And as farming changed and the tractors got bigger and better and more comfortable, I watched from the hill on the homestead farm in the garden while my brother and dad were doing what we were told is good for feeding the world and the rest of Canadians. From a young age, I like my hands in the dirt. I like seeing things grow. I did appreciate, I guess, because I was ignorant, the family farming, the larger farming was the moneymaker. We had dairy cows that we produced silage, so we fermented the grass, and we had pigs and ducks and chickens and numerous gardens on different hills. And anyway, it wasn't for me to take on the family farm. And I'm little Emil. Grandpa was big Emil, and being the firstborn Scandinavian, it was a little bit hard for him to understand that I had to move on. But the future didn't resonate with me at that time. So I went into my passions of law and natural food. So I became a chef to put me through school. And as I moved to the big bad city of Winnipeg, my youngest sister ended up in Health Science Center with a stroke as a teenager. So at this time, I'm working in one of the most high-end restaurants in the country. And I'd also seen, but didn't understand the depth back then. But the restaurant was being booked out for tens of thousands of dollars a night for pharmaceutical companies to engage the doctors. And it included parting gifts in the winter of brand new Jazz golf clubs with first class tickets to Arizona and however long at the resort, right? So I thought, yeah, I'm not going to even touch even a ubiquitous over-the-counter pharmaceutical like Advil or Tylenol until I get old and really need it. So seeing my sister paralyzed and the doctors not knowing what it was, and ironically, she was accepted to university in Pennsylvania that had the only advanced neurological courses at the time. She had this issue. So just kept moving on like everyone else back in the day. And a few years later, grandma got dementia and Alzheimer type symptoms. So sitting with the idea that you have all these, we didn't have restaurants, we grew our own food, all sorts of things. Everyone, great grandma lived to 100 some years old, great grandpa did. What's going on? And I just started to look around, and I noticed a lot of the ladies that were farmers' wives started getting degenerative diseases and what have you. And that took me down the line of not only learning what foods to eat and how to do it, including moving to Asia and Europe to learn different cooking and growing techniques, but seeing what can we do to the environment, how do we change, like what are we doing wrong? And it's actually not probably as complicated as one might think, but humic and fulvic acid came into my sphere as a cleanup for the environment originally. And through a lot of research and time, we learn about what it does for the body. So does everybody know what humic and fulvic acid is? So humic is a collection, a family of compounds that are in the soil. That's basically your soil. Fulvic is the smallest molecular weighted molecule in that system. So the fulvic is a singular item we'll talk about. Fulvic is this whole collection of micro and macronutrients, organic ionic form minerals. What happens basically, you can, one way I like to describe it is if you're looking at a tree and a tree blooms, the leaves come out in the summer, fall, they start to change color, fall off, they're losing their voltage. So the energy has been lost. The leaves come down, fall down, hit the grass or the soil, and then Mother Nature does what it's supposed to do. The fungi that lays dormant comes to life and decomposes this, and all the organic material gets broken down. Otherwise, we'd be probably walking on lots of leaves and trees and cows and whatever else dies. And so this is breaking down. It's creating different compounds and nutrition in the soil. Through the modern day farming, even organic, which is another story, but basically the same. What's not happening, especially if you're using fungicides, the fungus isn't there to break down this organic matter, and the system's lost. It gets replaced with NPK fertilizers and petroleum. That's what we're getting. So what the fulvic does from the seed is it opens up the membrane, and we'll start to see how the body and nature mirror each other. So the seed will open if it has enough hydration with the fulvic molecule. And the nutrition will go into the seed, the plant will grow. The fulvic will also make the inorganic minerals, like the raw form of minerals, ionic in an ionic form that's now organic, that the plant, animal, human can recognize, and the cells can recognize and use. So that's kind of how the mind's eye of that whole cycle. And when you break it, things can go wrong. So nowadays we hear, since the pandemic or COVID or what have you, that there's some of these different doctors and scientists in the mid to late 1800s that came up with, whether it's Pasteur, Beauchamp, but there's also Bernard and Bra, who took some of these observations to what is disease forming in the body, including some of the ideas that all of the illnesses of man, as long as they have of age, comes from the internal environment or the voltage. And we'll see where fulvic comes with voltage. And even at that time, they're starting to understand that a lot of cancers and chronic diseases are fungal based. They might not necessarily be some germ flying around, but it's a fungal base that's going to be activated into your body as in the soil. So the voltage goes down. Your cells need a certain millivolts to stay active, a certain amount of millivolts to create a new cell, or even more to repair tissues. So fulvic has a big part of the electrical exchange and vibrancy. So when the voltage comes down, say in your body, now different fungi are activated to do their job. But and a lot of these stay dormant in a lot of us. So in the modern day, or probably in all of human, I don't know what happened 1,000 years before I was born, but environmental toxins, stress, there's different things that will lower the voltage of the cells, emotional problems, and then as different the different organs are different frequencies. So maybe you have a miasm to this or that issue that comes low, and something's going to come along to clean up that so that the life cycle can continue. Now, the fulvic has 4 major things that I see to keep things simple today for human health. One is its ability to give the cells molecular oxygen. There's nothing else that I know of that does that at a better rate. Second of all, it's a master chelator. So it can take out any of the minerals or other heavy metal toxins that weren't organic and proper in an ionic form, and it will take it out of your cell. And with some support of your emunctories, you can get these out fairly simply. The gut microbiome, because a lot of it in certain parts of your digestive tract, the good guys of microbiome agents are aerobic and need oxygen. So you can see that through the molecular oxygen phase. And then finally, the fourth one is the antioxidant. It's a master, it's in the range of molecules that are master antioxidants. So they can deal with free radicals that are more than just in one section. So it does a multiple range. So yeah, that's the benefits of the fulvic acid and why it helps the body. And it starts at a cellular level, then it can go into organs and systems. So it's in this day and age, there's a lot of information and there's a lot of confusion because we are all individuals. We're have to be looked at as a systematic part of the major system. And that's why some diets work for other people, some not so much for the other. And I don't know, different things are involved with pushing different, diets and lifestyles and making you potentially be more confused or upset, or you thought you're doing well, but I'm not because of this or that. This can start from the ground up and support anything that you need to be done. So as a chelator and the electrical charge, fulvic is basically the garbage man and the delivery man. So not only does it take out what shouldn't be there and expel it from your system, but it can carry 60 times its molecular weight in now ionic form minerals and vitamins. So that's the beauty of fulvic. And whether it's in nature or in the human body, that's as simple as I can make it sound in a short time. Now, the humic is the soil. So it's that group of compounds that are in a healthy soil. So our formula in particular, I could tell you through assays of it has all the amino acids, micro, macro, and trace minerals. And in the combination synergistically, there's all sorts of minerals and vitamins and this and that you'd need. And to be short, there's a lot of cofactors to make sure that things don't get built up or things are actually absorbed, et cetera, et cetera. And this is one of the beauties of using these types of products is it brings that synergistic grouping of molecules into your body. With that, you can, with the help of a provider, physician, eye doctor, naturopath, work on some other specific areas or organs or systems that are particular to you. But essentially, that's what we're dealing with. And to be honest with you, I wish I didn't have to sell it, and I hope I don't have to before I leave this earth, but it might take a little longer because 100 or 200 years ago, this was in our food in most places. So this is one of the reasons why it's a passion as a born farmer to chef to naturopath, et cetera, whatever we've done. How do you know if things work in your body? One thing you can look at is when you have to see where the source of your food is. That's what I was taught as a cook. It wasn't my special seasoning or my marketing plan. It was sourcing the raw item, whether it was the fish, the pig, the tomato. And we have to do that also with supplements and vitamins or whatever is needed to help you along your journey because as you heard earlier, the fulvic acid through the system in farming has been gone. So the plants might be uptaking enough energy to grow, but are the organic minerals, are the minerals in the base compounds, are they organic, ionic, recognized by the plant, animal, or human? And that it could or could not be. And that's where finding out the sourcing of where your products come from and where they're gathered is very important because some vitamins might not be bioavailable. So taking a good quality humic and fulvic might help with that, but I'd probably prefer just to get a good source to begin with. And so that's the long story short with what humic and fulvic does and how it basically operates in the body and in farming and nature. And I can open up to questions or keep rambling on, whatever you want.
But you drank their dirt already? Yeah.
Yes, it's not sparkling products, so how much should you take?
So
Liquid and
yeah, so the liquid form, we have different formulas, and what I could say about what we do is the raw soil comes from a deep earth deposit in northern Alberta. So it's very old soil and compounds, composting for hundreds of thousands of years, and then further compressed with the glacier ice shelf. And so with that said, we do there is out of that deposit our agricultural formula, and then we have the human made stuff. So depending on which one of our products you're using, it's important, I believe, to start slowly. So half a dropper at a time and work your way up because it is strong enough that you could see changes in your body fairly quickly. So you might feel like you're getting the flu, or you might have to run to the washroom, because it's very, especially the humic's very good at rebalancing the gifts that your mother gave you at birth in the gut flora. So start slowly. There's no known side effects. We've seen up to 3 ounces a day used in more acute issues safely. But with that being said, if you're on certain medications, or you're going to be, I recommend that you talk to your physician or naturopath. For instance, eating a nice bowl of pasta one day with clams, when I ate animals, there was a rock in there that wasn't purged properly. I cracked my tooth in half, and it had to be removed. Now, the painkillers did not work, because I was just, I thought fulvic was good. Gave me energy, but it also bioremediated some of those toxic chemicals that numb the pain. So they kept adding, and it just didn't do it. So I said, just get it over with. So there's certain times where you can be a little bit careful, but it's there's no big issues as far as we see.
So I have a question. It's binding to heavy metals and taking it out of the body. Yeah.
Yep.
Does it need any other bond? Do you have other things that you'd recommend to take to bond to the, so if you're having a headache, or would it create these symptoms? So could you use other binders with it, or do you think that it should be used separately?
You can use it with the providers you work with and see what you need or don't need.
Like activated charcoal, for instance.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Yeah.
These things, is that okay, or do you use it part of it?
I don't bother with that internally anymore, because I just found that this is the best for me. So you can use them together transdermally. You can use all of that. So between your experience and then the people that help guide you, or you get that know what you need or don't need.
Sometimes all we have is you guys.
But
And you're
I do believe in other things that really work well, especially getting things out. So in the detox world, there's a lot of protocols for detoxing, but the pre-detoxing isn't very good. And I'm not just talking about getting rid of toxic cosmetics or laundry detergents and air fresheners, but also things that support your organs, which could be certain aromatherapies or gemotherapy. So embryonic stem cells from plants that can open up your emunctories so that you can actually get things out instead of just putting them somewhere else in your body. But in general, I think fulvic I've seen so many wonderful things, including what I didn't tell you was one of our mentors was nuclear poisoned. And in his 40s, he couldn't walk, didn't know his name, blind in one eye. And anyways, he's 78 years old now and a little overactive probably mentally and physically. But this is one of the examples of some of the products in our line of how extreme things can be. And what you learn when you look at this and it's almost philosophical, and it's like, I'm almost borderline embarrassed talking about molecules and this and that, because it's just it's more of almost a spiritual thing, a philosophy. It's just, your body is resilient. It knows what it needs. It has an intelligence. Bottom line is, with some of the ways fulvic in particular works with your cells, you're just giving your cells and your organs the energy it needs to do what it has to do. And if we can get out of the way mentally, that might be even better. But I hope I answered your question.
Thank you. Is that used the same as fulvic acid?
No.
They're good.
Yeah. Fulvic acid is one of the main compounds found in shilajit that creates some of the positive effects. So fulvic acid is part of shilajit. Shilajit isn't fulvic acid. Same, yeah. Shilajit is a different part of the earth to get the inorganic and organic minerals, and then the fulvic is what activates it for your body, allows your cells and organs to recognize it.
It's one better than the other.
I'm biased, yes, for numerous reasons. Shilajit and fulvic acid, depending on the company, to be honest with you, can be a little on shady grounds, because a lot of shilajit is gathered or taken from areas that were heavy duty mining parts that cut into the mountain. So there could be residuals there. If it's a pristine area, it should be very good. Same thing as fulvic. Our process is a patented version that's mechanically extracted. So a lot of these earth medicines, the active compounds are taken out through a chemical extraction process, which means generally the soil or the raw product is taken, it's acidified heavily with hydrochloric acid generally, so it becomes very acidic, compounds taken out, and then there's different ways to make it more alkaline so it's safe for the body to take. So sometimes you're stealing from Peter to pay Paul type thing if in some of those, depending on the producer. There was some pretty big companies in the shilajit fulvic acid areas in the last couple decades that have been shut down due to toxicity reports. So like the company's gone, class action suit's gone. We test every single batch. We know the acid of all the amino acids that are in there, all the minerals, the potency, we can tell you, plus the toxicity or lack thereof of the raw material to begin with. And even the owner inventor of this process can't sign off on his batches because it might be a conflict of interest in his mind. So that goes to another person to sign off. So these are awesome things as long as you get the right ones. We're not the only one in the world, but one of the safer versions.
How long do you use this for? Like a week at a time, or?
So you should I would say you should use it every day or as much, pretty much. Like essentially what happened is the nutrition, the foods we're getting are not nutrient dense anymore. So this is one way to get by that until you feel great. Some days you don't, obviously when you're feeling good, you're energetic, everything is good. You can miss days, it doesn't matter. Like you're not going to get sick because you missed a few days or what have you. Anything to begin with, I like to have people do it for 3 weeks on, 1 week off. And then, but sit and see what's going on in your body, and physician heal thyself is big for me. And that's the best way. But fulvic, say, is a master electrolyte, so you can't go wrong. One thing that I do talk a lot about is getting people from a lower energy rate or illness or disease, but actually the humic and fulvic, we have a lot of people that are high performance athletes, academics, people that are just trying to be being very physically fit, and they can work out less time with better results. So some guys like the fact that they're saving time and getting the same results. Some people just like getting seeing the gains, and that will come down to amino acids and the electrical charge.
It's better to take it with food or on an empty stomach. Does it matter?
Taking it before you eat is probably the best way to do it. One of my tricks, like in the morning, especially like the darker ones, the microbiome booster, the humic, I take that in the first morning waters, get that going, and then take the amount of water that you need in a day, add the daily dosage of your fulvic, and sip on it all day long. That's just how I like to incorporate a lot of different nutritions is slowly longer.
Yeah, can you talk to when you would recommend tummy love, 15 meg, full big, combo,
So the items that are in the black label have a good amount of humic. So whether it's the microbiome boost is just what we think is the best combination in nature found. So it's 5 parts humic, 2 parts fulvic. If you're basically a good rule of thumb is if you're into a nourishment set of life or time of day, if you're looking to nourish and build, humic acid it's got the nutrients that you need for that. If you're more into the detoxing phase, resting phase, humic and fulvic, that's what it's for.
You had an ear drop or an eye drop. Can you tell us a little bit about that too?
Yeah,
Bottles out there.
the eye drops are the smallest fraction of fulvic in the world. It's clear. So usually the fulvics are turn your water to a whiskey color. The humics are black like this, but this is a clear version and it's topical. That's what the formula is designed for. So you can put it straight into your eye. We use eyes because of the modern day, some issues and lifestyles. And that's how we market it. But for ear problems or infections, nose, throat, or vaginal. So depending on the issue, the clinical tests have been between 97 and 99% for fungal, bacterial, viral issues. And that's what that formula is designed for. So it's the most pure fraction of fulvic on the market. And it's called we call it nanovision. So it's not a nanotech. It's just nano means the size of the molecule. So it's that small. And it's very handy to have. Fulvic acid, a lot of the older people would use for things up to snake bites, but fulvic acid is well documented for poison oak, poison ivy, insect bites, all sorts of skin issues, fungal toe issues, things like that. It's a very, very good to use topically also, not just internally.
So you have the jobs that I'm taking to break up cataracts, but do you have any opinion on how people can avoid cataracts to begin with?
Well, yeah, I guess I have some opinions, but I'm gonna keep it on fulvic today.
Okay.
But I'll talk to you later. You give me a call about your eyes. Yeah. Yeah. So we have seen a lot of younger people have eye issues now. And then we also do ears. Something that I use, I have a technology called a BioWell, and it does gas discharge visualization using Kirlian photography. And it'll give you a lot of data on where your cell health is, but also your systems and your meridians and what have you. So without being like too crazy, in the Chinese and Eastern medicine that I studied, a lot of eye issues come from liver potentially or liver kidney. But anyways, there's ways that we can look and see more directly what your specific cause of whatever cataracts or glaucoma or whatever is. And we've done a lot of public engagements where we do like today, where we sample people the life crystals or the fulvic acid. And I could do a quick stress analysis on somebody. They could take some of a dosage, and then 5-10 minutes later, we'll do it again. Measuring your cell health, how much stores you have left and other things, even chakra alignments. And the fulvic always from small to a fairly large increase within just 5 or 10 minutes. We've never seen it go the opposite way. So.
Something along a different line. I was reading about parasite cleanses which I do regularly, but it said you have to be really careful to do get the metals out of your system first. So with this product, does it help with parasite cleanses, or would it help with the detoxing of
Yeah,
parasites?
yeah.
While you take them?
Yeah, so when you get certain parts of your body, when it becomes more aerobic and there's anaerobic parasites, they can kill them off. There's a whole thing behind how you should detox, in my opinion. So, like I said earlier, you can add enhancers for your emunctories, but also parasite cleanses can be done over months in a certain way. So you want to support your liver. You want to clean out as many heavy metals as you can without getting too sick, to other organs that do release these. Otherwise, you can get into that vicious circle of doing parasite cleanses for years and you're still finding things. So, but fulvic is, just on its own, people can start taking it, and sometimes that's the only thing that they've changed, really, and they see parasites leave.
It helps with dental infections. I have a really bad infection right now, where I actually almost died.
Do you have any metals in your mouth? Yes.
It originated when a dentist did a nerve at Christmas, and it was electrifying. People wanted to die.
Yeah.
I tried everything natural. I just woke up this morning and underneath my lips is a huge abscess, and it just hurts just to go like this.
Yeah.
With those drops that you're talking about, with those.
The eye drops, I had a pretty big issue similar, and that's what helped me. So
With that alleviate. And I have.
yeah, that's one of the mechanisms that will help you heal, is it gets rid of the.
It's probably, maybe I had antibiotics as a kid.
Yeah.
I just drove to the store today, but I'm like, I don't want to take them. So I'm just sitting here kind of.
Would she apply it topically on the skin, or would she go in and try to put it in the mouth and she ingest it?
I would do both to make sure it goes in. It doesn't hurt to topically. It's a good transdermal solution, and that helps your body in a certain way, and then to go right as close as you can to the point in the mouth. Yeah, the antibiotics, of course, everybody here probably doesn't want to go down that road, because that's partly why you need humic and fulvic, is antibiotic destruction. But try it as best as you can, and you probably did the chewing on cloves or whatever and this and that, but do the best you can that you don't that you can actually sleep and function, and as long as you can, and then revisit that. But I'd highly recommend trying the eye drops for sure. It's actually, fulvic was actually termed the miracle molecule. And it was found not too long ago in scientific history. And yeah, it's something that seems to, like, over the years, having talks with some of the different scientists and doctors and elders. And one time I'll never forget saying to one of the older ladies, and I said, it seems to know what you need. And I don't know if it's how I said it or whatever. And she just laughs at me. And she's like, yeah, it's funny how things like that work, isn't it? So definitely will help you if you're into trying to understand your body in relation to the plant and mineral world, I believe. So you'll see, try it and see if you get the miracle.
I was almost afraid to taste it because I was thinking of Shellborn. That tried that and it tastes horrible. It
Yeah?
tastes like nothing.
No odor, no flavor.
So you haven't done anything to it, it's just the way it comes
No.
out here.
No.
Nice.
Yeah, that's one of the big advantages compared to Shilajit is you can actually stomach this one. And, you know, sometimes you could see with the Fulvic, the comment I get from sensitive people is the water tastes sweeter. And it's funny when you don't go to war against carbon and what happens when you accept that into your body. And it's like, oh yeah, carbohydrates. Sweetness is one of the 5 senses in traditional medicine. And you add a little bit to the water, makes it sweeter. So that more available hydrogen or oxygen or what is it? I don't know, but I have my thoughts.
Fluoridated water.
Well, yeah, I could say, why would you? But that is a good question because what the fulvic does, and especially in concentration, and it changes. What it does is it has ability to give an electron or take an electron. So some of the health benefits are looked at as it's changing the electron base in these molecules. So it's making it, it's not like sodium fluoride anymore. It's a more natural form, a basic form of fluoride. So there's a lot of research and study that's one of the concepts. But
Water fasting and using their own product, is that something where you could get would that spike the insulin, or could you stay in a longer water fast, like a 7-day water fast?
yeah,
And then you could take that for your minerals? Like, have you tested whether it spikes your insulin anymore?
yeah. Well, for water fasting, you can use fulvic acid. Because if the point is not to activate the digestive tract and do all these other things, it's a master electrolyte. So you won't have such bad, if you get dizzy when you stand up or headaches, fulvic helps with all of that, gives you the energy to go through your day. And humic you shouldn't use, or the microbiome boost, because those minerals and how they're being taken into your GI tract will activate your digestive tract. So you won't be technically fasting if you use the humic.
Okay, so which one do I need to purchase then for the water fasting? What one am I?
The Fountain of Youth fulvic. Yeah.
Thank you. Sounded like
Yeah, no, that's a great trick for people that want to get into fasting. Try some fulvic in there to get you through the hump until you get used to it and comfortable and confident.
So does it suppress your appetite a little bit or just helps with the water fasting?
It gives you the energy to get through the water fast. As far as suppressing your appetite, the process of why you get hunger pains or you want to eat in the first day or two, those are different chemicals released in your body. So using the humic and fulvic blend regularly, it's a great endocrine and hormone balancer. So it'll just make it naturally a little bit better. For me now, I don't think I even get hungry. Like for me in the old days, with 2 or 3 days, there'd be that one afternoon where there might be the hunger pains, but for one reason or the other, I don't know if it's just the nutrition or just being more comfortable. Yeah. Highly recommend trying fulvic, especially for newcomers to fasting, just to not have some of the initial side effects, like I said, lightheadedness or headaches or so much hunger pain.
You have like gut issues, so I'm just thinking about and also sinus issues. And should I just start with my health? So,
So for gut issues is one thing. For your nasal issues, I would try the eye drops right away. And for the gut issues, the other formulas, you could drink the eye drops if you want, but the other formulas have other things added to it, and it's not quite as small fraction. So basically, cost benefit is better to ingest the other ones, I would say. We do have a powdered version here. Not this one. This one is a dry of our water soluble. So there's the process of during the mechanical extraction where the step before making it completely water soluble is what this powder, the large dry powder is. So that one, lots of people will add to their garden or plants, but you also ingest it. It's not fully water soluble, so it is a little more grainy. You can add it to your coffees or smoothies or foods, cooking, or just drink it and, just like taking clays, right? But that is it's larger fraction. So it mostly stays in your GI tract and it does wonders in there. So in the beginning, if you have GI tract issues, I recommend taking that and liquid. The liquid will go through there and get into your blood and tissues deeper. In the beginning, you should do both, I think. But for sure, that's where the powder comes into play, is for people with more GI tract, because it mostly stays in there.
I'm just wondering when you would take the humic and folic together. When I first started on the humic folic, I was told to do twice as much humic to the folic and mix them together. So
Yeah.
I'm just a little confused about the beginning.
Yeah.
Benefits.
You want to take it all together normally, because that's the synergy, and you have the cofactors going so that you can absorb things. The microbiome is what we feel is the best ratio, which is basically 2-to-1, but it's not. It's 5-to-2. So look, yeah. Now, if you have humic and fulvic at home, you can add both to your water, no problem, right? Instead of having 3 or 5 or 10 products. And then depending on where you're at or what your goals are in that moment, maybe you want to take more fulvic acid and you don't need more minerals. So that's why it's separated. So I have to go because there's somebody else better looking than me coming next.
Sure, it's hard to talk. It's hard to talk. Yeah, all right, wonderful. We're going to take a quick little break. Let's give it up for Emil. Thank you so much. We've got one final presentation, Blaine Andrusic. He's going to be telling stories, talking about herbs, oils, and specifically getting into dental health. Okay, you might run into an emergency. He's got some tips and strategies for you there. And so we'll get started with that at 4 o'clock at the top of the hour. If you have any more questions for Emil, him and his lovely wife will be out in the shop with more samples as well. So, okay, we'll meet back in 15 minutes.
Put outside, you want to try?